This year is going to be my year. I'm going to make a hell of a lot of gains, make new friends, save a lot of money, start investing, fall in love, go traveling, get a new job, develop a better work-life balance. Do you see the problem? If you don't, that's okay. You will soon. But don't you love this time of year? Time when motivations are at their highest. Chances are you have thought about what goals you want to set for the new year. I know I have. But let me ask you this. How many of those goals are centered around you doing something or achieving something? All of them, right? Now let me ask you some more questions. Why? Why are those goals important? And why have you waited till now? How many times have you failed before? And will this year be anything different? If you cannot answer those questions, you are not alone. But wait. What if I told you that you're going about this entirely with the wrong approach? What if I told you that there is one question that would change your life? So I got your attention. Answering this question may involve you traveling down a road that was not paved for everyone. This road would take you to unknown places that you're hidden away from the world and away from yourself. A question to guide you to understanding what you want, where you want to go, how to get there, and what's holding you back. It's a question that has stumped many philosophers for thousands of years. This question is, who am I? And the answer is not clear. But join me on this road as we shed some light on who we are and why this is the most important question you need to answer before you start embarking on your goals for the new year. But first, we need to answer who and what we are not. So ask yourself, who am I? Perhaps your first reaction was to respond with your name. So taking me as an example, Joshua Ward, but a name could have been Amar or Jonah or Rohit, and I would still exist. I will still be me. Okay, maybe I am the collection of my own experiences. And sure, there is validity to this. Your experiences definitely contributes to the person you become. And I could have played baseball instead of cricket. I could have gone to a public school instead of a private school. While my personality would most likely be different, I would still exist and I will still be me. Alright, maybe I am my body, my flesh and bone. And yes, you are identified by how you look. I mean, my proof of identity is literally a picture of me with my name. And this is true for my driver's license and my passport. But at the same time, each of these expire and I need to go get new pictures taken. And the main reason for this is to get more money out of you, but also because you grow and change. As you age, you may become almost unrecognizable from what you looked like before, and yet you are still the same person. In fact, your body is in a constant state of dying and rejuvenating. Old cells that are dying are continuously being replaced by new, young ones. Studies have shown that every 7 to 10 years, all 30 trillion of your cells from head to toe have been completely replaced. Does this make you a different person? Similarly, there's an old story that many great thinkers of the past have pondered over. A boat comes into harbour for repairs every so often. Over time, every part of that boat has been replaced for a new part. Is this the same boat? And Oda, the creator of One Piece, weighs in on this question. The crew needs to get the Mary repaired, but finds out the Mary is not repairable because the keel was snapped in two. The ship would have to be taken apart and reassembled with a new keel. And even though the ship would be fixed, it would not be the same ship. And the shipwright's reasoning was that because no wood from a tree is identical, and the crew would most certainly notice the difference. So maybe every 7 to 10 years you are different, but nonetheless, as you change physically, you still are you, and there is something that is consistent. So now we might ask ourselves, what is it that is consistent? It's not our personalities. Over time, our characters change, whether intentionally or organically. My sister showed me this photo of me, and I was mildly offended by who I was. This boy is still me, but I feel like a completely different person now. There's a reason why they're saying it feels like a lifetime ago exists. Because it feels like this person has died, and now I am something different. But there is still a thread that connects us. It gets a little bit deeper as well. because you may have noticed that you take on different versions of yourself based upon who you are interacting with. The athlete is not the same as the father, who is not the same as the brother. A singular person has many characters that is connected by this thread. In Will Smith's new book, he describes that he lost himself during a movie role. He was no longer Will, but instead he was Paul. And despite Paul being a fictional character in a movie, Will believes that Paul was every bit as real as a character Will played in actual life. We all have a sense of self, a sense of who we are. We tend to believe that our sense of self predicated by the characteristics that build our characters. We believe that we are our likes, dislikes, nationalities, political views, religious convictions, gender, occupation, hobbies, and interests. And it's these characteristics that we use to form identities for ourselves. Often we think of our identities as if they are solid, fixed, and unchanging. But in reality, these characteristics are shaped and formed. They are malleable and can change. And since the characteristics of us can change, our identities can change as well. If there is something that humans hate, it is uncertainty and ambiguity. We have created these labels and categorized people by these labels to make sense of the complicated world that we are immersed within. And for good reason as well. Categorizing enabled us to become more organized so that we can divide people and use their skills to create systems that will solve problems. But the downfall is when we start to believe that we cannot become who we want to be. These identities serve a purpose. They enable us to categorize ourselves into groups so we can find our place within the world and find people who we are able to connect with. Now, if we are going to be completely honest, we form these identities to protect ourselves from our fears, to protect us from being vulnerable. Often we need to shed these identities once they have served their purpose, once we no longer need that protection. Just like how a snake sheds its skin or a hermit crab finds a bigger shell to live within, or how gamers would create the desired build for their character by swapping out different skill sets. You are all of these things, but none of these things are you. You are a complicated web of attributes and characteristics woven together by a thread. Some of these attributes are healthy, and some others are toxic. And you do have the capability of changing that web how you see fit. So what's this thread that I keep speaking of? Well, let's look at it like it's a system. Normally when you design a system, you have fixed inputs. The inputs go through a process and are changed to fixed products. For example, a petrol car relies on the conversion of octane and oxygen to carbon dioxide and water to produce enough energy to drive the wheels and power the vehicle. And as you'll see, it's a different story for us. This is you, the system, a complicated mess of biology. There are inputs from the outside world, things you consume, like food and information, your immediate environment, the people around you, and resources available to you. As in, there's more generally the society and culture that you live within. And you perceive all of these inputs through your five senses. Now, like any system, the inputs influence the outputs. In this case, the outputs is how you respond to the experiences. It's the action that you put out into the world. For example, your partner starts yelling at you for not cleaning the kitchen, so your immediate reaction is to fire back. Fuck me? No, fuck you. But here is where it gets complicated. The internal state of the system can change. So a particular input is not always going to trigger the same output. We understand that the inputs will affect the internal state of the system, but the state of the system can change basically by itself, without any stimuli from the outside world. The internal state of the system affects how it responds to the world. The outputs then affects the inputs, which changes the state of the system, which influences the outputs, and so on. It's a feedback loop. But the responses the system makes also directly affects how the system feels. This is you, myself, and everyone else. We are the products of our environment, but we are also the result of how we feel about ourselves. Our behavior, thoughts, and feelings affects how we feel about ourselves and the world around us. The actions we take affects the people we have contact with and our immediate surroundings. Our experience with other people and various events affect how we feel about ourselves and the world around us. And we still need to include all of the other things that happen outside of our control that influences our lives. Okay, so now we may ask ourselves, what is it that is processing all of these events and feelings? Well, we think it's our brain. So is this our answer? Are we our brains? Maybe. If I removed your brain and put it in a stranger's body, would you then take control over that vessel? Would it be like the hair from The Simpsons? I don't know. But the brain is often thought as the computational powerhouse of the body. So does that mean we're like computers? Are we just algorithms? If you were to look at us as a system, you might say yes. But it is a system that is unpredictable and is inexplicably complex. Although there is something missing, it's the fact that we are aware that all of this is happening. The system is able to observe all of these events unfold. You are the witness. You are consciousness. They become more and more clear as you meditate and watch how your mind behaves. And over time, you learn just how little control you have over your thoughts and feelings. So you are this inanimate, self-aware system that is forever changing based upon the inputs, outputs, and generally how it feels within the confines of your physical and genetic limitations. Well, you complete the sentence, I am, in thousands of ways. For example, I am an engineer, I am a hiker, I am a climber, I am a weightlifter, I am a son, I am a brother, I am a friend, I am determined, I am analytical, I am stubborn, I am a man, I am heterosexual. And equally, I can answer I am not in thousands of ways. I am not brave, I am not strong, I am not articulate, I am not a swimmer, I am not a runner, I am not stylish, and I'm not extroverted. And the list could go on for fucking forever. So who gets to decide who you are and who you are not? Well, you do. Of course you're going to be influenced by your surroundings, but ultimately it is how you feel about yourself that determines who you become. Despite the complexities of the system, I think it is rather empowering, because the state of the system can change by itself, just by its own thoughts and feelings. You cannot control what you think or how you feel, but you can always control how you respond to it. And as we have learned, the outputs, what you put out into the world, plays a direct influence on how you feel about yourself, and your actions influence the inputs around you. So as you go into developing your New Year resolutions, I challenge you to stare into the depths of what makes you, you. Identify the characteristics that you are proud of, and also the characteristics that you are ashamed of. Develop an understanding of what purpose the identities you have formed serves, whether you want to keep them or break free of them. It is only after you understand who you are that you can work out what you want. Then those goals you have set for yourself have much more meaning, because now they are part of your why. It may seem impossible at first, but I promise you, the more you challenge yourself, the more you'll begin to see that this is something that's completely within your control. And remember, you are the first time you has ever happened, and you know your situation better than anyone else. Okay, so here we are at the end of another video. And I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this one, because it's super important to understand who you are, because it's these limiting beliefs that you have for yourself that really hold you back from the goals you want to achieve. But like always, if you got to here, I appreciate you. Remain hopeful.